Hey, what's up, guys? Tactical Pickle here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Forza Motorsport 7 demo. So this is actually going to be on the PC. So as you can see right here, it's available on Xbox One as well as PC. And this is part of the Xbox Live Xbox Play Anywhere feature that they're offering now on Xbox titles, and I believe it's going to come to other ones, but right now it's ones done by Microsoft Studios, and I believe what that means is if you purchase it on the Xbox, it is playable on your Xbox as well as PC, and if you purchase it on PC, it's, basically vice versa. So we're going to be checking out the PC demo today, and it does say that it's capable of hitting 60 frames per second at native 4K resolution in HDR. Now, my display is not 4K, and I do not have HDR, so I won't be able to see those features. But as you can see, scrolling down, so the minimum system requirements, it's saying Windows 10, 8 gigs of RAM, 2 gigs of video memory. Now, its processor, it's saying for the minimum, you need an i5 750 at 2.67 gigahertz or an AMD FX 6300. And as for the graphics cards, it says the GT 740 or GTX 650 or an AMD R7 250X. So with these minimum system requirements, it's saying that you should expect at 720p resolution to be running at 30 frames per second, which is not bad. This is fairly old hardware, so to be able to hit 30 frames per second at 720p is still pretty decent for a game coming out, 2017, when a lot of this hardware is quite a few generations old. So over on the recommended side, it's still Windows 10, DirectX, so same amount of RAM, 8 gigs, but it's now recommending 4 gigs of video memory. So newer processors, so the i5 4460 at 3.2 gigahertz or an AMD FX 8350. So as for the graphics cards, it's saying at least a GTX 670 or an NVIDIA 1050 Ti or an RX 550. So what it's saying with these recommended settings is you should expect to hit at 1080p resolution 60 frames per second. So let's go ahead and boot this game up. Now, I shot this video once already, and one thing that I noticed is that the volume is really loud within the demo. So that's something that you might want to be mindful of, as well as the demo itself is actually 22.9 gigs. So if you have a slower internet connection, it might take a little while to actually download. So the demo doesn't actually boot up in full screen, which is weird, till you hit enter, and there you see it'll pop to full screen. So so they're showing the Porsche there as kind of like their the display box art. That's because I believe this is the first time Porsches have actually been able to make it into the Forza series, because I believe recently Porsche had an agreement with the Gran Turismo series, so they weren't able to actually lease out their rights to the car to other racing games. But don't quote me on that. Maybe I'll put a link down below if I can find that information just to show you. So one really cool feature about this game is in the video settings, you actually have the ability to select dynamic rendering, which what this will do is it'll actually change your video settings to hit your target goal of, so if we go over to the advanced tab, your performance target, mine's sitting at 60 FPS. So what it's going to do is if it was on dynamic, it would change your quality of these different things to help you meet that goal. So it might drop down some shadows in some area or particles or, textures just to help you meet that 60 frames per second. So if you're driving, you're not really going to be paying attention to you know, the subtle changes in the quality as you're driving along, but you would notice the FPS drop. So I really like that they have that ability to set it up so that you're everything's scaled to meet that performance target. So on mine right now, we actually have everything set to ultra. It's actually at 4K display settings right now. So my display is only 1080p. So what this is going to do is it's going to render it at 4K and actually downscale it to 1080p, which will offer sharper corners on the different objects. It kind of works as I believe it's called super sampling, which is like anti-aliasing. So it'll reduce a lot of the jaggies around the objects and it'll look nice and smooth. So all my settings are maxed out as far as I can do. And just so you know, in my current system, I have a high-end system. So I have the Core i7 7700K, and I believe it's overclocked to 4.6 gigahertz. I have 16 gigs of RAM at 3000 megahertz, I believe. Not quite sure what the clock speed is on my RAM at the moment, but it's overclocked, I believe. And then I have the GTX 1080 Ti RS edition, which has 11 gigs of RAM for the video card, as well as I believe it can boost up to over 2000 megahertz. I haven't checked in a while. So with my current setup and everything maxed out, 4K super sampling, it runs at a smooth 60 frames per second. Like, I don't even have it on dynamic on any of these except for the resolution scale. So that's just on dynamic. I'll leave it at that. But everything else is actually on the specific settings, so it's not going to downscale and upscale to help me meet this target performance. But either way, it runs buttery smooth at 60 frames. I'm hoping when the full game launches that it'll actually allow you to go farther than 60 frames. Hopefully it'll have an unlocked frames. So let's go ahead and get into the game. So for the demo, you have the option to go race. You can buy it or options menu. So let's go race. So starting off here, the first series that you can actually do, you drive in a 2018 Porsche 911 GT2 RS. And I believe it's at the Dubai race course here. Next event is actually a truck race. Battle of the Behemoths. So you're racing at the Mugello circuit in a Mercedes-Benz number 24 tank pool racing truck, which is pretty cool. And lastly, you got the Nissan Nismo Motel AUTEC GTR. So I wanted to show this race here because we're on the Nürburgring and it's entitled Outlast the Storm. So it's a two-lap race, and it actually shows the rain effect, which is really cool. I believe they did a new style of rain tech for this game where you'll actually be able to build up puddles on the ground as the rain continues. So another new feature here is you can actually adjust your character and a bunch of different customizable skins. These are all just preloaded on here, so you got yourself like an astronaut, real McCoy, Forza 1, just different styles that you can see here that you should be able to customize in your game. So as you can see, this one's rare, so it's possible that they might have kind of like crates that you can unlock with real world money, but I don't know. Let's just go ahead and select the real McCoy. Let's get this going. So let's see. We got options for assists. We're just going to put it on medium. Suggested line. I don't like assisted braking. Oh wait, so yeah, we'll have ABS on, but I don't like assisted braking. Steering normal. Tractions control. We'll just do all the regular stuff because I'm playing with a mouse and keyboard. You can, on the PC, select to, or you can opt to use a controller. And because this is a Microsoft title, it's automatically mapped for the Xbox configuration. So that's assist. Drive Avatar difficulty, you can actually adjust your opponent's skill level. Driver gear, you can change that. So we're on the Nürburgring, 3.2 miles, 2 laps. So let's go ahead and start up the race. What I don't like about the demo is it's actually rolling starts. And you'll start outside the vehicle, and when you actually start the race, it brings you to the cockpit. It's kind of jarring, but you can press tab to change it. And this line here of the areas shows you the... Whoop. All right. Pardon my bad driving. It's hard to multitask. But this... Whoa, shoot. There we go. Oh, no. That totally screwed me up. So... Oh, come on. Alright, so this line here is the driving line. It'll change color depending on your speed, and it'll help you figure out the best line to race on the track, as well as the speed for the corners. So, one thing I do have to say is the in-game volume is really loud for the vehicles. They sound awesome, but it's pretty loud. And as you can see, it's starting to rain. And you'll notice eventually the track is semi-dry now, and it'll slowly start to build up puddles as you progress throughout the race and the rain, which is pretty cool. And you know, you got the rain effect on your windshield. Oh, as you can see on the corner, it's building up puddles. And I do believe you can hydroplane if you hit a large puddle. And I believe they form dynamically based on the actual layout of the track. So puddles in here will actually generally spawn in the same, or excuse me, will generate in the same area that they would on the actual track, if I remember correctly from the tech demo that I watched for this about the rain. So the storm is starting to pick up, which, you know, is affecting the visibility. A lot of water on the track. I can definitely feel the loss of grip. And there's a little bit of hydroplaning on some of these areas here. Oh, I'm terrible at this with the mouse and keyboard, but. And then obviously, yeah, just spinning out, get back on track. So obviously, hitting these corners, you're gonna go slower in the rain, or you'll spin out. So there we go. The lighting changes, which is really cool based on this storm. So it's a really good show of the weather effects that they have. And what I want to look into is if it's actually going to be dynamic weather. Like, are they going to offer dynamic weather for each of the racetracks? So it could change from sunny to rain or so as needed, depending on location. And that'd be kind of cool to change up the racing effects, so you're not always racing in, you know, ideal conditions, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, I really like this rain effect here. It's pretty immersive. The graphics look really good. So this is running at the super sampling of the 4K, and it's just buttery smooth on my system. And with that dynamic scaling of everything, it should perform really well on a lot of variety of systems. So yeah, see, I spun out because of a puddle. There we go. Yeah. These guys are being aggressive. So, alright, well, my poor driving aside, I'm really impressed with how well this game is performing right now and how well it looks. You know, a lot of the time you're going to be focused on driving, and all the vehicles that are within your view look really good, and as well as the track itself. I mean, you're not going to focus a lot on the track around you, except for some areas you might, but this was a really good demonstration of the rain effect, which is cool. So you can hear thunder, and there is lightning as well. So hopefully this will finish up real soon. Bringing me back to my days of Gran Turismo, where you just kind of barrel into the corners and use your opponents as pillows. Oh, that didn't work. Alright, so this is the end anyways. Alright, so let's kind of take a second to actually take a look at this. So this view here, the reflections of the water is really cool. The lighting effects that they have, kind of the lens flare off of the actual lights. And the audio is just awesome. So let's kind of get a closer look. You can see the puddles that generated on the track, and I don't know if they're always going to be in the same spot, or they might vary in size, but definitely, like, this view here is just a really nice view. It kind of shows you how awesome this game looks. Which obviously I don't know how well it's going to translate into the video to YouTube, but so let's go ahead and actually back out on the car. So here's now if we stop and actually you take a look at the clouds, you can see how the clouds are moving out in the background, which is a really interesting feature I didn't even notice before. So it kind of adds a really nice realism to it. And alright, let's go ahead and just finish this up. So alright, we got wet grass, so a helicopter above me. Alright, so from what I've noticed, your mouse doesn't actually do anything. Alright, there we go, just speed through here. Alright, so now that we're in dead last. Alright, so my car's a little beat up. Not bad, but... So... There we go. All in all, a really, really nice demonstration of what the lighting effect's capable of doing, or the rain effect. So it's just all the awards that it won at game shows. Talking about the Forza game itself. So a bunch of different series that you can perform in, and these are some customizations that you can do to your character. They talk about a bunch of different racing suits. Now they say they have over 700 cars, which is a lot. So it's a lot to keep you busy if you love racing. So at the end of the demo, after you finish a race, it gives you the, it'll try to get you to buy the game. So they're offering 3 different editions: the standard edition, deluxe, as well as the ultimate. So, you get the game, you get bonus content. So it looks like if you pre-order the game, you also get Forza Horizon 3, which is kind of cool. And I believe that should be playable on PC as well. So you get day 1 pack for these 2 memberships here. VIP membership, which I'm not 100% sure what that entails, but then on the Ultimate Edition you also get the Forza Motorsport 7 car pass, and then early access to the game on the 29th. So they don't list pricing, but that's I'm sure it'll be $60 for the base game, $80 for the upgraded version, and then $100 for the Ultimate Edition, which kind of seems to be the pricing for most special editions for games and whatnot. So, but don't quote me on that. I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to find pricing if you decide to go and pre-order it. That's just kind of what I guessed it would be price-wise. So, as always, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. It was the first time I've done a live demo review, which was kind of cool. This was my second time through it, as the first time the audio and everything was really loud in comparison to what my mic picked up. So hopefully I was able to scale it back down while also being able to deliver some of the awesome audio that this game offers. And one thing Forza has always done really well is capture the awesome engine sounds for the different style of vehicles, which I do believe they go out, and for most of the vehicles within the game, they actually record the actual engine sounds and the revving of the engines and everything, and they use that within the game, which is an awesome touch, as well as the new rain effects, which are going to be really interesting to see how that plays out in the full game. So as always, guys, like I said, hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you didn't like it, let me know down below why you didn't. You know, I can't improve if I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So as always, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you next video.